Hello everybody, thanks for joining me again for another video. Have you ever wondered why it's so difficult for you to just sit down and meditate? Or to just maybe sit down and do nothing? To just sit down and not think about the things that you have to do? Or to just sit and be with yourself, with whatever there is at that moment? Well, this is something that a lot of people have in common. So just to reassure you, if this is something that actually reassures you, you're not alone in this. And it's a struggle that is very widespread, and it's a difficulty that is actually much, much more important than you might think on a personal level. Now, when we grow up, we are trained to be active in our lives. We are trained into being concentrated. And when we concentrate on something, very concentrate, we are going into sympathetic activation mode. So our autonomous nervous system goes into activation, into sympathetic nervous mode. So we are being active, proactive, and we're being constantly problem solving, for example. We are reacting to things, and it's very difficult for us now. If you imagine yourself being in a very active situation during your day, then in the evening it's very difficult to calm down. So a lot of us choose activations like the TV that only goes into passively, so you can actually relax. And what we're completely lacking is the contact with that part of us that actually has us go into relaxation mode, into the parasympathetic relaxation mode, where we replenish ourselves, where we calm down, where we find inner peace, and where we digest our food to an extent if we are in activation mode, we don't get the nutrients out of that food in the same extent. So this is something that has been completely trained out of us. And I've come to the point where I'm seeing this so widespread and to such an extent, to such a desperate extent, people are so desperate with this activation mode. It's like it's coming out in different kind of symptoms. So if you have all kinds of different symptoms, it can all boil down to this having been activated all your life. You've been all your life trained into just doing, getting stuff done, going from one activity to the other, always thinking about other people and not yourself. This is something that is coming out of you now in the form of symptoms. So your body is actually telling you, hey, there's something not right, not in balance, so calm down, come back to your senses, and come into passive mode, into parasympathetic relaxation mode. Okay, so why is this even important? On a biological level, you could say that in parasympathetic relaxation mode, your body goes into repair. It recovers, it gets more nutrients, as I already said, out of your food. It replenishes and rejuvenates your cells, and it gets your oxygen going through different parts. There's also the pH level, the acidity of your body, that goes up, meaning up. The pH going up means that you're becoming less acid and more alkaline, which is good for most of us. So there's always this balance. There's always a too much of everything, evidently, and that makes the poison, as you already know. And so too much alkaline is also not positive for the body. But however, we are mostly in an overdriven acidic mode. So all this goes together with the activation and the passive mode. And there's more. On the body level, there is so much going on. When you're going into parasympathetic mode, your blood pressure goes down, or it regulates, so it becomes more flexible, it becomes more adapted to the situation, to the outside situation. And you've got a clearer mind, and you know much more what you want to do, how you want to do it, how you want to spend your time, and then things are so much more easy to get done in a shorter period of time when you're in that relaxation mode. While when you're in activation, everything's chaotic and it seems to have no end to it at all. Having said all that, there is another point that I want to bring out here, and that is quite important now for spiritual people. So I've been talking about the body, and we've all got a body, so this is an important point. However, there is especially for spiritual people, and on a spiritual level, there is something that we have to take into account as well. And you've heard about yin and yang. Yin and yang, the masculine and the feminine. And this brings me to the whole aspect of what we are saying right now, that in our age, what's lacking is the aspect of the divine feminine. Now, everyone in us has a masculine and a feminine part. So we have a part that is actually driven by activation and proactive behavior, and there is a part driven by passive mode and a feminine receiving behavior. And this receiving behavior, especially in women, sometimes is not well seen. As I said at the beginning, it's all been trained out of us. You've all been trained into activation mode, into masculine activation mode. And the passive side of it is completely neglected, but it's very, very important. The feminine, the divine feminine part of us is that which receives. So let's take an example, for example. As an example, let's take abundance. Abundance is a sensation that you can have. And abundance is something that comes to you when you open up. If you imagine your toroidal field, you've got this apple-shaped toroidal field or butterfly-shaped toroidal field around you, where you put in energy actively, and then you receive it back transformed with your gifts, with all that you've wished for, back into you. It has to come around, gets transformed, gets nutrients from above and from below. It gets influenced by other energy fields, and then it comes back to you. But this coming back is often blocked by our activation, because we are constantly activating the field. That means we're pushing out. So we're pushing out. You're in this pushing out state all the time, where the passive flowing back to us of the energy is not permitted. So once we actually know this, we can then actively sit down and decide we want to go into passive mode and feel the sensation of the energies coming back to us. And it's so important. If you want something and you've been wishing for it, you've been making your affirmations towards it, you've been feeling it into place, but it's not coming, it's probably because you're constantly activating your field. And then things come out wobbly. They don't come out the way you want, because you've been too pushing outwards with your energy. So the divine feminine is actually the receiving part. Your feminine part is the receiving part, where you just go into neutral and you just receive the energy back to you. And there's another aspect of it. Now, there's vibration. Vibration, we always say raise your vibration, but it's not raising your vibration, it's the frequency. When you go up in frequency, you become happier and lighter. However, there is also an intensity of the vibration, and that's how much of the energy you actually get out of you, like you represent into your field. And here it's important to know that there is a neutral point where there's no vibration, and the vibration is like minimized. Okay, you understand that? So when you're active, your vibration goes out, and the stronger your emotions are during the day, the stronger you are vibrating, and the less things come to you. So the thing is that there is a higher necessity for us to become neutral and to vibrate less, to calm down our vibration, and therefore to receive the energy that's around us and have it come towards us. Now, in the sensation of abundance, it would be the abundance that we've wished for flowing into us, coming towards us. And there lies one of the greatest difficulties that we have in our society right now. Together with our training into activation mode, there is also a traumatization. So the traumatization is actually linked to being passive. That means that when you relax and when you just let go of yourself and just be in the moment, you be passive, then you become afraid that you will not be loved, that you do not deserve it, that you will be obstaculized, something bad will happen because you're not making anything happen. It's the same thing as being in control and letting go of all control over your life. And it's very difficult because our fears are directly linked to not doing anything. And this is where our society currently is completely backward, because we need to let go of all that and cherish the being passive. Celebrate the being feminine, and to celebrate being in that relaxation mode equally as activation mode, because otherwise the things will just not come to us that we've been hoping and wishing for. Now, if you want to know how that feels and how to do this, I invite you to take part in my abundance workshop, which is taking place on September the 30th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Central European time. So that's the time that we have in Madrid or in Barcelona, for example, Central Europe, Berlin time. And in that workshop, I will guide you through all the different steps to how to get into that passive receiving mode and to get all those energies back that you've been actively getting into the field. So you might know about manifestation, imagining, feeling, and then what my workshop is about, getting these energies back and feeling what it feels like to be abundant. So I hope that was interesting for you. Please leave your comments down below and make sure you sign up for that workshop, which is also, how to do that is in the description box. I hope you have a wonderful day and see you next time. Bye for now.